Hello and welcome to another Demon212 PS3 review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Dead or Alive 5, which if you've never played it before, it's yet another fighter review for me. I absolutely love the games. Personally still prefer to call them beat 'em ups, but I know I get in a lot of, not so much trouble, but a lot of people who don't seem to be accepting of the fact that the UK media, while I was growing up, called them beat 'em ups. So there we have it. They're fighting games. At the start, you've got the story mode, which is incredibly cool. I've always liked the D.O.A story mode since D.O.A 4, because that was the first D.O.A I actually enjoyed. I never could get into 1, 2 or 3. I tried them and I just wasn't keen. 4 came out, loved it, got Dimensions on the 3DS, played it non-stop, couldn't wait for 5, and after the disappointment of Team Ninja's Ninja Gaiden 3, which they then fixed on the Wii U, Dead or Alive 5 was such a breath of fresh air, because breath of fresh air even, because it's amazing. It's one of the best fighting games to come out this year, or last year even, because it is now 2013 to be fair. Anyway, the story mode's there, fighting's just against another player or computer, it's what I'll be sticking with. Online, I'll say the same thing I always do. I don't like fighters online. The even slightest bit of lag will completely ruin a game for me. Extras, you can go into things like spectator mode, you can view album, fight record, and your missions and that, which simple, like your titles and that you can earn, which I've barely earned any. Options wise, you've got game settings, which you can choose camera type, hit effect, dirt, sweat and water. You can choose your controls, you can choose screen settings, sound settings, online settings. You can install the game, which I strongly recommend you do, because loading can be a bit dodgy without it. PlayStation Store is just to get a load of overpriced DLC costumes, which hopefully they'll one day do a bundle of about 20 quid and you get all of them. But for now, I'm just going to go into versus. But you do have versus. You've got an arcade mode, you've got a time attack mode, survival and training. It's standard affair for a fighter. But I'm going to go into a versus game now and just cut into playing as a couple of fighters.
I feel a storm is coming.
Apologies for that cut, but unfortunately I do not have access to Superman's Fortress of Solitude, and sometimes I really wish that I did have it. Because unfortunately there are people who like to shout in this street. Anyway. For those who don't know, it's got tag modes and single modes, and the gameplay is just excellent. I think the fighting system's great. Unfortunately though, all anyone ever mentions are the tits. And apologies if that offends anyone, but it's the truth. Pretty much everyone says, oh, you play D.O.A, you just want it for the fancy babies. No, believe it or not, there are some of us fighting purists who do actually love this game for the combat. Now, it's one of those, the women tend to be the most hyped up characters because they tend to be better, they tend to be a lot faster, and there's a lot more reason to play as them. You do get the power characters who do tend to be male, and it's kind of sexist in that way that the women are faster, more agile but a little weaker, and the men are more clumsy but a lot more powerful. But that's kind of how it works in real life, I suppose. It's how the bodies are designed. Men can always get bigger muscle development, and women will always be more agile and a hell of a lot quicker. And a lot of the time, speed can outweigh strength in fighting terms. So playing as a woman on a fighting game is one of the best reasons to really play as a lass. So if you've got a hang up with that sort of thing, then look elsewhere, because this game is not for you. Because quite frankly, other than Ryu, I don't really think there's many of the male characters on the game I would honestly recommend. Now, it may just be that I'm absolute crap with them, which is my problem, but it's one of those. Onto the actual game mechanics. You've got a kick button, a punch button, you've got a counter button which you can do high, low and medium counters, you've got a grab button, you can move in and out of 3D planes. The combat in the game works extremely well. You do need to have your thoughts about you. For example, what I'm doing now, referred to getting my arse kicked, is partially a problem because I'm just struggling to concentrate, because it's one of those, you do need to be able to concentrate, because you need to watch how your opponent plays. If you are eagle-eyed enough, you can see a strike coming before it does happen, which means you can counter it. And on the DS version, my brother absolutely hated playing with me because I had gotten that good at countering on the DS version that pretty much every 2 hits or so I'd be able to counter him, turn the battle my way and end up beating him. But it's one of those. It's totally different on the PlayStation. I'm nowhere near as good. Gameplay wise, I think they've made the game a hell of a lot harder. Especially, I mean, fighting the likes of Alpha. If you don't know, Alpha was the boss of D.O.A 4 and kind of the boss of D.O.A Dimensions, depending on how it played and that. But it's one of those, playing against Alpha was always a chore, but there were also some other characters who just always had your number, and there are characters on this who are definitely better at countering than others. And one of the cool things I like about this D.O.A is it actually tells you the character's strike, the character's throw, the character's hold, power, speed and moves. So you can pick a character that works well for you. So for example, Kazumi is the fastest character. Ryu, he's barely got any speed, but he's got such good technique with other things. And it's one of those. The roster is extremely well balanced, I think. While the women are always faster and the men tend to always be more powerful, as long as you're extremely good at countering, you can win with any character on the game. There's a few unlockable characters as well. There's a load of unlockable costumes. Some from classic games, some you actually start with the classic costumes. For example, the Christie I was just playing as there, in the leather jacket. That was always my favourite costume because of the neon blue flames, and thankfully it's made its way over into this game. There's other costumes like, for example, Tina, her starting costume is pretty much the one that she tends to always have. The new fighters to join the mix, some are good, some are bad. It's one of those, it's always personal preference. When you play a fighting game, you always have to find out someone who you like. Stage wise, there's a ton of stages, and there's some that like have got multiple modes like this one here, so like multiple layouts. You can also turn danger zones on or off, which there'll be unique things happening. So for example, one of the best stages as far as I'm concerned in D.O.A history for Anarchy was the stage where you were like playing on like the Las Vegas Strip and you could get hit by cars, but I absolutely hated it as a fighting point because something as random as that could turn a battle. So the fact that you can turn the danger zones off is fantastic. Even with doing the install, I must admit every now and then the game tends to do this, which if I'd known it was going to take that long to load, then I would have actually just cut into the game. But to be fair, there's not really much else I can actually say about it. If you've never played a D.O.A game before, I think there's few better places you can start. I mean, there's a load of people who always say that D.O.A 3 is the better of the fighting games, one of the best fighting games around, and it's the better of the D.O.A series. But personally, I think 4 was great, 5 betters it in every way, and it's well worth a look. The only problem is it's very multiplayer dependent. If you, like myself, don't like fighters online and you can't find someone who likes this, then you're going to have troubles with it, because as soon as you beat the story mode and played through the arcade 100 times and unlocked some costumes, you're going to run out of things to do. It's the age-old problem with fighters. It's why I'm glad that I've at least got one brother who loves fighting games, because my best mate hates them and our other brother can't stand them. So at least there's 2 of us who've always been addicted ever since Street Fighter 2. So I've always got someone who either get my arse handed to me or beat their arse. That really is all I can say though. I don't think there's a demo, which is a shame, but trust me, if you like fighters, get it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And I cannot wait for the Vita version as well, which I will most likely end off reviewing because I am addicted to the genre. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.